Just wait for you to come on board. We're going to do a quick tour of the 4 pillars of singing, which is the comprehensive TVS vocal training method, which comes with a book, ebook, hard copy book, and a comprehensive online coursework program where you will learn about how the singing voice really works and the TVS methodology, the unique methodology that we've developed at TVS to help singers learn how to get stronger and more coordinated for singing. And I think possibly most importantly, you'll have access to training content, the scales, the workouts, the onsets, the things that you need to practice every day, day in and day out, to get stronger. Because in order to bridge the passaggio and get into the head voice and get a voice that is, has the freedom and flexibility so that you can express yourself as an artist any way you want for any style, you have to train. There are no tips on YouTube from any voice coaches, including me, even my channel. I mean, you can get a tip and it might answer a question, it might inspire you a little bit, but if you don't train, if you don't practice, if you don't have scales and work your voice, phonate every day, especially as a beginner, you're not gonna build the strength and the coordination to become a better singer, just flat out. They're sitting out and just watching YouTube videos and getting tips isn't gonna do anything for you. Not really, no real meaningful, lasting improvement, which is what TVS is about. That's what we're doing here. So TVS students and customers that buy the 4 Pillars of Singing vocal training program, we are, including myself, we are students of vocal training technique that understand that you have to train and you have to practice, and we have goals to, to become not just a little bit better, but a lot better. Okay, so if you're serious about singing great and solving a lot of serious problems with your singing, like choking and pushing on high notes, then I highly recommend that you stay tuned and check this out. I'm sitting here on the Google Hangout. If you are out at YouTube, okay, go out to the 4pillarsofsinging.com, the 4pillarsofsinging.com, click the register button, and then register quickly. You can do it right now if you want to, and get inside the Google Hangout. Get inside here with me. That way you can ask questions and what have you. Okay? So currently we have 2 people here on. And if you're out there, you can go ahead and ask questions and stuff. I will go ahead and start with the presentation of the 4 Pillars of Singing. I'll go ahead and do a little screen share here. Feel free to ask questions in the chat system if you like. Again, those of you out at YouTube, go to the 4pillarsofsinging.com, go to the top of the page, click on register here, all right? That'll take you to a quick registration page. You put in your name and your email and hit go. Then you'll get a link, okay, to a Google Hangout, and inside the Google environment, you'll be able to ask me questions. Okay, let's take a look at the 4 Pillars of Singing. 4 Pillars of Singing is a vocal training program and a methodology that took about 6 to 8 years to develop. All right, it comes with a comprehensive full-color hard copy book with training routines and a methodology that is helping singers learn how to train and learn about the singing voice, but also, as I said before, learn how to train to get stronger, more coordinated for singing, to become better singers, to solve your problems. And this program's not bullshit. It really works. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'm gonna do a little screen share. Boop. Now, we are looking at the 4 Pillars of Singing right now. So if you go, again, to 4pillarsofsinging.com and you purchase the 4 Pillars of Singing, and I'm going to give you a special offer, by the way, at the end of this presentation. So stay tuned. At the end of the presentation, I'll give you a discount code so that some of you guys can get a good deal on this, okay? That's my way of thanking you for coming and watching the presentation. So the 4 Pillars of Singing is an online coursework system and training system. So all of the content is accessed through this website, the 4pillarsofsinging.com. Okay, and you can access this through any device, your regular home computer, a tablet, or a smartphone. Doesn't matter, it's fully mobile friendly. And inside this website, after you purchase, okay, you'll go out here, you'll log in, and you'll be authenticated, and you'll be able to log in to the coursework. And because it's mobile and mobile friendly, you'll be able to go with you anywhere you're at. So in other words, you could take your training content and your warm-ups, for example, with you in your phone, and you can practice, anywhere you can get online. Now, the training program also offers file downloads. You get file downloads, the key, most important file downloads for training, your warm-ups and some basic sirens and some of the workouts that you need every single day. They are also available as file downloads. So those of you that want the files downloaded, and so that you can put them on a disk, or so you don't have to stream through the internet, and you want to just play the files from your phone and save on your cell phone usage, for example, that has been taken care of. So there are download files available as well. Now, the 4 Pillars of Singing through the webpage here has 2 primary user interfaces. The first interface is called My Course, and the second interface is called My Training. These 2 interfaces are very different, and that's basically what we're going to look at for our quick tour here. Okay. At the moment, we're looking at My Course. At My Course, the first thing you'll see here is a progress bar. All right, it says 1% because this is just a sample page that I have. But as you go through the course and you complete the coursework, this progress bar will grow, and it'll tell you how far you've completed the coursework, which is a nice thing to have. Keeps you motivated, keeps you moving forward. It tells you how far you've gone and to get the coursework done. Now, there's 167 lessons in this course, and they are inside of, I think, approximately 10 modules. Here's some helpful notes, and if we go down here, you'll take a look at the modules, all right? These are the current modules that are available. Notice, though, that each module, if I click this X over here, opens up and expands to an individual lesson. You see, if I click on this right here, that's going to be an individual lesson. Here's a module called Vocal Technique and Myth Busting, where we talk about ideas and things in regards to vocal training, the singing, how the singing voice works, that people tend to believe, that creates a lot of confusion that isn't honestly true. It's myth busting, and that's creating a lot of problems for people because they don't understand what's going on, or they're being misled really by certain ideas that are being propagated out on the internet. And so this module here, right, all these help to break some of that myth and resolve a lot of that confusion, as well as some really good techniques and things that you need to know that are helpful to make you sing better. All right. By the way, when you finish one of these lessons, there'll be a little green check mark over here indicating that you've completed that particular lesson. Here's another course called the TVS Methodology. Now this module, module, not course. This module is a module that goes into the specifics of the 4 Pillars of Singing, the TVS methodology that I've developed over the last 10 years that is helping singers around the world sing better. And in order for you to do the program and follow it properly and get the most out of it, you have to understand what the methodology is and how it works and what you're getting into. All right, so there are approximately 12 or 13 lessons inside the TVS methodology module. All right, and don't worry, we'll go ahead and take a quick look at a lesson soon as well. All right, just want to go through these modules. Specialized onsets. Those of you that have seen my videos, some of the free content on YouTube, you've probably heard me speaking a lot about onsets. Onsets are a big part of the TVS methodology. Onset just means the start, the way you start a note, both in training and in singing. And the mantra basically is, if the onset's good, then the training workout or the scale or the singing that follows will be good. On the other hand, if the onset is bad, if you have problems in that beginning onset and it's not calibrated, balanced, you've got maybe some physiological issues or acoustic issues related to that start, the beginning of your singing, then it's going to be bad. Your training or your singing will have problems in it, all right? So the onset, or how we start when we sing, is super important. And no other program, honestly, in the world has gone into more detail and more analysis and understanding in regards to how you start a note, in regards to onsets. It's not that TVS invented the idea of onsets. It's not something anybody's invented. Onset just means to start for a lot of different things. But what TVS has done that's unique, that nobody else has bothered to go into, is the full potential of onsets. If you really dive in with great detail on the different ways that you start a note when training and singing, you can discover that the onsets can help you to isolate musculature and help you to get great muscle strength and coordination quickly and efficiently. Also, the onsets are used to troubleshoot problems. If you're pushing too much on notes near your vocal break, you might try a wind and release onset. If you sound if you're having a hard time getting vocal fold closure, you're having a hard time getting your vocal folds closed and it's too windy, you might try a quack and release onset. If you want to belt, if you want to take your chest voice high and take that full chest sound color above your vocal break into your head voice, pretty much everybody does, then we have specific onsets that help actually build that musculature. The dampen and release onset, the attack and release onset, and the contract and release onset are 3 onsets that will specifically build your belt voice. It'll build a high chest voice strength and coordination faster than any other technique or program that's out there and available to you, all right? So that's just a quick idea as to how important these onsets are, and we go into great detail on them here in TVS. That's part of the method. Physical modes are similar to the Astilian vocal figures. Physical modes are basically different ways that the larynx can be configured in regards to physiology, that if you understand some of the basics of the larynx configuration or the way the larynx is set up, if you understand some of the basics with that, then you can better understand what to do and sing better and manipulate your voice. And then acoustic modes, TVS acoustic modes. So TVS acoustic modes is the way that we organize the vowels and the acoustics of singing. In order to really become a great vocalist, you have to understand the acoustics of singing, all right? And this is can be a challenging and abstract aspect of vocal training and vocal technique. It's kind of like the calculus or trigonometry portion of learning about vocal technique. It's the hard stuff, and that's why most voice teachers don't know anything about it. Most voice coaches don't bother to take any time or any effort to learn about the acoustics of singing, to learn about formants, to learn about vowel modification, and that's unfortunate because their students are missing out. It's not something you can gloss over. It's not something you can ignore. You will always be held back in your full potential as a singer if you don't understand the acoustics of singing, just the basics, not hardcore or complicated science, but just the basics as it's laid out here in my program. If you don't understand the basics of how it works, then you will always be short of your full potential as a singer. So the TVS methodology, the book, and the coursework, we're really big on the acoustics and learning about singing vowels, right? Moving on, here's a module on vocal effects. We have vibrato, compressed overlay distortion, decompressed overlay distortion, extreme scream distortion or screamo distortion, extreme scream pitch, kind of like an 80s high frequency, high scream sort of scream, like a high pitch scream, windy phonations, and the yarl. All right, these are all vocal effects. This is a module that's a lot of fun. All right, and inside these lessons are workflows and video demonstrations and information that you need to learn how to build these vocal effects. And then we get into the training routines that are out here at the coursework, but also at the top of my training page. So real quick, let's just take a look at what one of the lessons looks like. Let's go out here to vocal effects, and we'll look at the decompressed overlay distortion lesson. Okay. This is an example of one of 167 lessons that are inside the 4 pillars of singing. This is the decompressed overlay distortion lesson. This is one of several kinds of vocal distortion that I demonstrate, okay, and provide a lesson, and not just do it and demonstrate it, but after you get done watching this video that you can't get anywhere else, by the way, it's all paid content. I then offer you workflows and the information that you need, okay, to practice it, to show you how to practice. So there's a video where I teach you how, and I do it, a little bit of copy, probably, you know, sometimes there's a cool picture inside the lesson as well to help communicate the point and what we're trying to do. Sometimes we put in tables, typically a training workflow that shows you how to train it. Here's another cool graphic that's in here, and some, you know, information in regards to the acoustics of singing, acoustics of a distortion sound, so on and so forth. It's quite worked out. This particular lesson actually has 2 videos in it, all right? This is a video of me doing the vocal distortion demonstration in Munich, Germany during a master class a few years ago. We can play it. Okay, so that's just kind of a fun bonus video. A lot of the lessons have a lot of bonus videos in them. If I felt that it added some value or some entertainment factor, sometimes I toss a second video in here. But the main lesson is right up here, the video at the top, okay? Now, when you're done with your lesson, you can go down here and you click on View the Lesson Quiz. And now here is a quiz. Every lesson has a quiz, and if you pass the quiz, and you get at least 60% on this one, which is pretty easy, what happens is you go back out to the coursework and you'll get the green check mark, and the progress line will move forward. If you don't pass the quiz on the lesson, it does not prevent you from moving forward. You can continue to move forward on the coursework, and if you want to take the lesson again, you just reset the quiz, and you can take the quiz a second time. So there's nothing about, you know, if you don't pass the quiz, it's not going to stop your progress or bug up your training experience at all. All right, so back out here. Oh, and when you're done with this lesson, just click on the button right here. It takes you out to the next lesson. The next lesson here would be extreme scream distortion, or screamo. This is the screamo stuff, okay? Here's the video, copy, you know, interesting pictures, graphics that help explain the situation, another training workflow, and another bonus video, all right, with a quiz. All right, so out here, that's the course. So the coursework is basically get smart, learn about the TVS training method, learn about how the singing works, go to school, get smart, and get serious about singing technique, all right? Out here at my training page, this is where we get serious about the training, because the Vocalist Studio and TVS is a lot about training. That's one of the things that is, I think, part of the methodology. It's a value statement. It's something that, it's a principle that we hold very high. the TVS and the 4 Pillars of Singing, it's not just a book, okay? And it's not just a bunch of files that you download and dump into a folder. This program has cohesion and makes a lot of sense. On one side, you got the coursework, and on the other side, you have training. The My Training page is 1 page, okay? And this is all of the training content that you will need to practice. It's all embedded on 1 page. Now, I do that so that when you want to train, you only have to go to 1 page. I wouldn't want you to have to dig through several clicks to get to 1 workout. That would not be convenient. So all of the training content is out here embedded into these box.net widgets, and you can access everything. So what this is the warm-ups. And these are videos of me doing the warm-ups. These aren't lectures. These are actually me training through the warm-ups. So all you have to do is click on the demonstration video from any device, by the way, and play. Now that's pretty cool because you get to watch me do the warm-up, and just seeing me do it will answer a lot of questions for you. It'll show you good form, good posture. From time to time, I make a comment inside the video to help you guys get along and get the best out of it. But also, you can just play the video and just warm up on top. Just hop on and train along. Just do it with me in the video. It couldn't be any easier, all right? That way, you'll learn how to do it. Now, when you're done with the videos on the warm-ups, what you would do then is scroll down here to solo piano vocalese workouts. These are solo audio files without me in it, okay? Because at some point, you don't want to just train over me. You want to get me out of the way. You're done with the Robert file. You're done with the training wheels, and you move forward and you do it by yourself with the solo piano vocal workouts. That video was called Track and Release. The name of the warm-up was Track and Release. So here is the same workout without me on video. It's just the audio file for people that learn how to do it. Okay, so you see out here at the My Training page, one of the things that I've done is I've offered you videos of me actually training the training content, not just talking about it, not just writing about it, but actually doing it. And you're not going to find any other voice coach that's doing that for you. Not like I did. Not like the 4 Pillars of Singing. I'm just being completely honest with you. All right. So you watch these videos, you learn how to warm up. When you feel like you got it going and you understand how to do it, you don't need me anymore. That's great. I hope you get to that point. And what you do is you scroll down here and you play the same workout in an audio file and you train. Okay. You'll recall that out here at my course, there was a module in regards to the onsets or how we start a note. And right here is a module of videos of me doing all of the onsets. Now, these are not the same videos out of the coursework, okay? The coursework videos, the coursework onset videos are lectures. Those are explanations of the onsets, what they do for you, when to use them, their benefits, and what have you. The onsets here on the training page are me training. I'm actually doing each individual onset. So, for example, let's look at the belt onset, attack and release. We click on this. And I'm right here by my keyboard and a microphone. Now, there might be a short little intro, but for the most part, this is primarily me doing the onsets. Again, all you have to do is just do it with me on the video. This is the attack and release training routine. Follow along with me grammatically up the scale, down the scale. Don't push. Oh! Okay, so again, just me training the attack and release onsets. So all you have to do is watch the video, figure out how to do it, and then you can do it by yourself, okay? And then down here on my train page is what I call the integrated training routines. Integrated training routine is unique to the 4 pillars of singing. Nobody else is offering routines like this because they haven't done the work and they haven't thought out the idea of the onsets. They don't understand onsets like we do at TVS. They don't understand the vowel. They don't understand the vowels like we do at TVS. So they don't have the ability to put together anything that's integrated. Okay, they're just giving you a scale, just throwing a scale at you and asking you to do a big ah vowel or whatever. But they don't really. There's no discussion of onsets. There's no understanding of why you're doing that particular vowel, and that's a problem. That is, those of you that have vocal programs or you're taking lessons and all you're doing is there's no discussion of onsets and there's no discussion of vowels and there's no training content, you're wasting your time. I'm sorry, you're just not going to get any really significant progress until you understand onsets, vowels, and you have training content to work on. Now, TVS students understand onsets and vowels, right? So we're able to put together what I call integrated training routines. What's that? An integrated training routine is a training routine that integrates onsets, singing vowels, and a workout. Okay, that sounds pretty simple, but what this means is TVS students understand this. There's intelligence behind it. They understand why you would train on an A vowel instead of an E vowel. They would understand what onsets they can use to fix certain problems. One onset they need to use for belting, or what onset they need to use to fix, you know, sounding like a duck or pushing too much. TVS students understand great technique. They understand how to fix these problems. And that enables all of us, me and my clients, to train integrated training routines. And an integrated training routine is, there are demonstrations of them in here. And basically there are 13 training routines in here with me standing by the piano, okay? Standing by the piano, training these routines. And these routines have carefully selected onsets and carefully selected vowels to help address certain issues and problems with singing, all right? 5 of these are coordination and tuning workouts. These are for bridging your vocal break and getting into your head voice and getting, just as it says, good coordination, good muscle memory. These 5 right here are resistance training onsets, resistance training routines that do, by the way, happen to have resistance onsets in them. And these 5 routines right here are your belting routines. There is no other program in the world that can offer you belting routines with this kind of detail and specific efficiency to help you get better. If you want to sing better, if you want to belt and be chest voice high, if you want to eliminate all your problems, this is, and you have it, and you're dedicated, and you practice, and you commit, and you train these programs, you will get results. I guarantee it. But you have to commit and practice. If you get this program, you commit and you practice, you will make great progress. All right, and then there's additional demonstrations of me doing all the other workouts. There's 32 workouts in the 4 pillars of singing that you can work with. It includes blues workouts, groove workouts, traditional vocal workouts, 32 workouts to train with. I mean, so let's review. You have a coursework program that's 167 lessons that will teach you how the voice works. It will remove all the mystery and misunderstanding of how to sing and how to train. All right. It will teach you the TVS methodology. And when you're done with this course, you'll get it. There won't be questions about vocal training that are still in your mind very often. It's pretty much, this covers just about everything. All right. Especially if you read the book. And then out here at my training page, we have instructions on the warm-ups. We have specific demonstrations, training demonstrations on the important onsets. We have guide files here. We have solo piano workouts for you to work on. By the way, each workout, there's a slow one and a fast one. So of those 32 workouts, each one of them comes with a slow and a fast version. So people that want to go a little bit slower can train slow. People that want to go fast can train fast. I built that in to add additional value and convenience for you guys. This set of solo piano audio files in G is for girls. This is for girls. This is so that ladies, it's the same files as the ones up here in C, the same as the C, except it starts 5 notes higher for girls. This way, ladies can play the files and it doesn't start too low. Sometimes women will get lost on the other files because it's too low, they don't know where they're at, and they get lost. So I created a separate set of files for women, and that is a nice convenience. The integrated training routines, which is the vocal workout, the onsets, and the vowels, put together in a formula that makes sense, okay, that is smart and has a purpose. Purpose being to coordination and tune your voice, to build bridging skills, to bridge the 2 registers, or to build strength and musculature for belting, okay? And then demonstrations of all these other workouts. So that's it, folks. This is the 4 pillars of singing, all right? And again, a coursework and training, fully mobile friendly, available to you, all right? And if you have any additional questions, you can always go down here and click on live chat now, all right? And if you click on live chat now, that will allow me to go into an interface, you see, right here, and I'll be able to answer any questions that you have. You can actually talk to me in person. It's not like other coaches where you buy your program, you never hear from anybody, and you don't gain any customer service. That is not likely to happen with me. You can actually, if I'm not working or teaching, of course, I'm not always available. But if you see this and it says live chat now, that means I'm available. Pop that sucker up, put in your name, and talk to me and ask questions about the program. And even after you've purchased the program, you can still ask me questions about the program. All right? And see all these people right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 people on the site right now training or taking a look at it. Okay, so I am accessible, and I think that's also has a lot of value and is pretty cool. All right, so that is our presentation. I'm going to go back out to the Google Hangout and ask any questions that you guys have. And that's my Harley Davidson. You should try this thing because it works. Now I'm going to answer these questions here. We have from John. Hi, John. John. Great. John. Hi, Rob. I just wanted to ask a question about the embouchure. I'm just curious why you sing and teach with a wide embouchure. Why is it so important? When studying at university, they told me not to go wide because it would create problems. Yeah, okay. Yeah, when you're at the... Hi, John. Good question. John has a question about the embouchure. The embouchure. Embouchure is just fancy French for this. Okay? How we hold the mouth, the tongue, the cheek, the lips, the positioning of the mouth when we're singing. That's referred to as the embouchure, all right? And we use a French word for this because in English we don't have a word for tongue, jaw, teeth, lips, so we just keep it easy and actually borrow from the French, and we have a super embouchure, all right? John's question is in the 4 pillars of singing, in the training program and in the coursework, I advise clients and students to train with a horizontal embouchure position. Now, what I mean by that is an embouchure that has generally speaking, a horizontal orientation like this. Okay, all right. Not a vertical orientation like this. Okay. Now, There are some exceptions, and from time to time, we'll go a little more vertical versus horizontal. So it's just a general rule. It's kind of a best practice that if you can, we try to hold the embouchure. If you want your embouchure to be a super embouchure, as they say in France, what you would do is, you try to keep it in this position. Why? John's question is, why? Okay. A horizontal embouchure does several things, actually. It helps enable several things. Number one, a more horizontal-oriented embouchure amplifies the acoustics better. You get more sound energy, more energy in the amplification of the vowel and the sound when you sing through a horizontal embouchure, all right? Because the physical space is compressed more, all right? Two, a horizontal embouchure helps you with narrowing. It helps get the vocal tract, which is the resonant space above the vocal cords. It helps take that space and physically narrow the space more, which is something that we want. Most of the time, we want to be able to narrow or do narrowing techniques on notes that are above the vocal break. So when you're singing, and you're singing in your head voice above the vocal break, one of the things that has to happen, there's several things, but one of the several things that has to happen to make your head voice sound chesty and strong and stable is you have to get a physical narrowing inside the vocal tract. A horizontal embouchure, okay, sets off a chain reaction, all right? Hip bone connected to the leg bone. It creates a chain reaction, which does many things that I'm going through at the moment. One of those things is it helps put narrowing inside the vocal tract. What does that do? Again, it amplifies the harmonics. It amplifies the format and makes you louder without pushing. So I'm saying you get louder without pushing. All right, when you amplify the acoustics, which comes from narrowing, which is enabled by, partly enabled by, a horizontal embouchure. All right, three, a horizontal embouchure gives us sound color off the palate and the teeth. You can actually hear sound color from the molars in your teeth and your upper palate when you have a horizontal embouchure because the oral cavity is compressed. Now, that's an advantage. That's not something you don't want. That's something you do want. Adding the additional sound color of the palate and the teeth in your sound, in your singing, is a favorable thing. It helps you to sound more edgy, more belty, more strong, more amplified. All right? Four, a horizontal embouchure helps you to modify vowels better. All right? Now, when I talk about vowels, I'm not talking about language vowels. I'm talking about singing vowels or formants. All right? And in order to sing high and bridge to passaggio and do all the things that we all want to do that are explained in the 4 Pillars of Singing coursework and book, all right? You remember I made a big deal about the acoustics, right? Well, one of the things that you have to do is you have to be able to change and modify the singing vowel or the sound colors per the frequency. As you move from one frequency to another, all right, you need to modify vowels. If you don't modify the vowels, then you're not going to shift the resonance. And if you don't shift the resonance, then you're going to choke and push. Listen to this, folks. Those of you that are choking and pushing, 80% of you, the reason you're choking and pushing isn't because you got a problem with the physiology. That's what you think, because that's very intuitive to think that way. It's very intuitive for all of us, not just you, but me too. It's intuitive for all of us to just kind of presume that, if I'm pushing, is there something wrong with my physiology, something wrong with my voice, right? Not always the case. In fact, that's only a symptom. The physiology follows the acoustics, folks. The physiology configures or follows the acoustics or the singing vowels. Again, that's why the singing vowels are so important. The TVS acoustic modes, back at the coursework, that's why it's so important. When you learn how the acoustics of singing work, then you can manipulate the physiology to do what you want it to do, all right? And bridge and connect, bridge the voice, get in the head voice, and do all things that we all want to do and sing great, all right? Back to John's question, all right? Horizontal embouchure helps us to modify vowels better. So, John, there's like 4 or 5 great benefits that spill out for singers that are physical and mostly acoustic that we get from singing through a relatively more horizontal position instead of a vertical position as much as you can while you're singing. Now, it says here, yeah, but out at the university, they told me to not go wide because it creates problems. That's very typical. That's very typical kind of thing that you would hear from voice coaches. The voice coaches, I don't think I'm one of them, but there's a lot of coaches that will tell you what you can or can't do, but they're not going to tell you why. So, John, if you can put in the text message here, if you happen to remember why that particular coach told you not to go horizontal, was there a reason for it, or did they just tell you that? Okay, because what happens in my business, in my industry, is voice coaches will tend to, and they might mean well, they're good, well-meaning people, but what can happen is they kind of drink the Kool-Aid. They kind of just teach and say, they just kind of say the things to their students that were said to them. All right, that's pretty easy to understand. I mean, that's probably just normal human behavior. I'm sure that's not only in singing. That's probably other things in life as well. It's about the generation of teachers to students, teachers to students. It's this generation phenomenon that ideas that are not true or not correct, or ideas that are passed down that nobody actually explains or really understands or stops to question why, they get propagated with each generation of new teachers. All right? It's a big problem in vocal training because vocal training has a lot of mystery around it. It's not like I'm teaching physics, okay, and I can't teach bullshit. I have to teach real objective facts, right? And we're working with math and formulas that validate things, perfectly, all right? Singing technique is kind of an art form. There's a lot of mystery around it, so there's a lot of mystery and myth and bad ideas and ideas that we used to believe, but now we know aren't true, and ideas that nobody bothered to really raise their hand and ask why, that are propagated generation after generation after generation. John, I'm reading your text here. Thank you for participating. They said it would create tension in the job. It's not true. They are wrong. Okay? It's just not true. All right? I do it. My students do it. There are people, thousands of people around the world that do it and don't even realize they're doing it. They're singing great. And if you looked at them, you'd say, okay, that person's kind of got a horizontal position. Somehow that's kind of what they settled into. They decided that worked for them, through the years. And it's not creating any tension at all. John, that's just simply not true. It's ridiculous. It pretty much makes my point. All right. If you have any other questions, John, that's great. And if I'm not mistaken, John, I believe you're in Australia, right? And you're a new customer, right? New client. That's great. I'm happy to have you, John. It's fantastic. And yeah, I mailed your hard copy the other day. It's all signed and everything. It's really cool. And I hope you'll get into the coursework because these training pages back here, cool. Simon, I'll be with you in a second. Fantastic. John, these red pages are training pages, all right? They're tables that show you how to train the content that we saw out of the coursework. So if you don't have access to the course and the training content, then this is, the white stuff is interesting and you can get something from that. But all of this training content, you can't get access to it. basically you have a lot of information. You have a great book, and it'll be informative, and you'll learn from it. But you don't have access to the training. You kind of got the course in your hand. Basically, you have the coursework in your hand. But the coursework on the website, I'm telling you, it's a lot more fun, and a lot more interesting and fun and more interactive than the book. But it's okay. This is kind of like the course, but you're still training. You need access. Most importantly, you need access to those skills so you can practice. That's the point. If you're not practicing, then you're just reading a book. You're not training. You're not singing. You're just reading a book. And if you just want to read a book, that's okay too. Truly, I'm not being a smartass. Some people just want the book. They put it on their shelf and then they add it to their collection. That's fine. It's fine. Okay, Simon, I'm going to answer your question here. You're welcome, John. You're welcome. You're sweet, and I appreciate your emails, by the way. It's all very cool. One more question. I'm a little confused about belting and covering. What's the difference? It's very different. Covering is a term that has a lot of different definitions, but basically it means to shift resonance in a backward position for the purpose of helping to bridge. So in the 4 pillars of singing, if you modify your vowels from an edging vowel, a forward vowel, to a curving vowel, a back resonant vowel. Okay, so we're modifying vowels from a forward resonant vowel to a back curving vowel, all right, back resonant vowel. As you go through the passaggio, if you make that maneuver, that would be an example of covering, all right? It's referring to using vowels in a way that will help you to bridge the passaggio. And that's explained. There's one of those integrated training routines back at the My Training page that I showed you guys. One of those routines does that. It's kind of a covering routine to practice that particular maneuver. All right. Again, notice I'm talking about vowels. I'm talking about acoustics. I'm using terms edging, curving. I'm using terms that might seem a little new to you guys. Well, if you get the 4 pillars of singing and you take the TVS acoustic modes module in the coursework and read the book like John is, you'll understand what it is I'm talking about. And that's kind of the point. You'll learn about the acoustics of singing, and you have to. There's no escaping it, guys. You can't get around it. It doesn't matter if you think it's boring or not. It might be, but you cannot get around it. Those of you that are serious want to get really good. Okay, I have some other questions here, guys. And I have to wrap up soon. Simon, thank you for making a nice question here. Let's see here. We have 38 viewers on today. That's fantastic. Cool. That's great. And thank you for your time. I'm going to answer Simon's question as best I can, and then I'll give you guys the offer. All right, hang on here. Hi, Robert. Quick question about vowels. Oh, hang on, guys, real quick. Jonathan, out here at the chat system, somebody just pinged me real quick. It's a customer. Hang on. Jonathan, SHURE, Jonathan. Yeah, okay. Got it, John. Maybe that is the John we were just working with. Okay. All right. Simon. Hi, Robert. Quick question about vowels. Great. I like questions about vowels. Student that has questions about vowels, it's a student that's generally really trying to look deep into how the singing voice works, is serious about, is a kind of person that's going to be like, I really want to get this. Yeah, I don't want a shortcut. I don't want it the easy way. I mean, if it's easy, great. If it's not, great. I don't care. Either way, whatever it takes, I want to get this. I want to understand this. So we got someone here that's asking about vowels and the acoustics of singing, which can be the most abstract, sometimes the most difficult thing to understand in singing technique. But without further ado, I'll read your question here, Simon. Quick question about vowels. Have only just joined the webinar. Yes, thank you. So sorry, this has already been answered. Oh, or has been answered? Okay. Well, let's see. Whenever you see any of these vocal quick fixes, which I, of course, appreciate, are not what you want if you are a serious singer, you sound like a TVS student. There is no, hey, you guys out there in YouTube, because I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there. Look, I'm not just being mean or copping an attitude. I'm really trying to help you. I got news for you. There are no tips. There's no free secret tips that you're going to get from any YouTube vocal technique video, including mine, okay, that's going to give you a lasting, permanent, meaningful change in your singing. I don't think so. I mean, it might answer a question or two. It might inspire you. It might be helpful in a way. But again, if you don't have a program with training content and a method that shows you how to do it, and you don't grab a microphone, all right, for 30 minutes to 2 hours a day, as much as you can, and you don't go fa la la do re mi, you don't work out and do the scales, you're not going to change your problems. There is no coach. It's not, I can't do it for you. Ken Tamplin can't do it for you. Kevin Richards can't do it for you. Brett Manning can't do it for you. God knows all the rest of them, all the noise on YouTube, nobody can do any of it for you. None of us, even the best guys in the business. If you are prepared to get a good coach, a good program, I'm one of them, there's a few others, regardless, and start practicing and training, okay? We're talking about musculature, motor skills, muscle memory, right? This is an athletic endeavor. It's like learning to ice skate or learning to shoot better basketball shots. It's muscle memory. We're just working with smaller muscles on the inside. Sorry, John, I keep interrupting myself, but obviously I'm quite passionate about students of singing training, okay? And kind of a bit upset in general that in my business, in my industry, there's so much product and noise out there. Most of it not good. Some of it good. But even some of the ones that are good, no training content. No training. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. All my life, I've trained vocal workouts. And that's why I became a great singer and coach, right? Which I, of course, appreciate. You should be training long-term. Yes, you should be training long-term. John's right. Vocal training, learning about how the voice works, the experience of getting better, the experience of setting a goal to trying to get better, it's not something that you're ever done with, all right? It's part of the lifestyle of being a singer. I'm still a student of singing technique. Just because I'm a coach and I wrote this book, it doesn't mean I'm not a student anymore. I'm still a student. And I'm not trying to be cute. I really mean that. I am. I'm always learning every day. I pass that down to my students. But it's a lifestyle. It's a commitment to learning about how the singing voice works and training and practicing and getting better and always setting a new goal. That's how it works. That's one of the things that separates people that just kind of talk about it and dream about it and never get anything done, and those that do. Sorry, that sounds sassy, but it's true. Opening my closed vowels. You're confused. I'm not talking about opening closed singing vowels. I'm talking about opening or modifying closed language vowels. That's different. Okay? It's hot in here in Seattle. Sorry, I'm getting a little sweaty. Closed singing vowels are E, oo, and a family of vowels that we call the R-controlled vowels. I, R, U, R, E, R, A, R, So generally speaking, a lot of the problems, by the way, that you guys have in your singing, it's not the source of every problem. But oftentimes, the source of your problems, you're not aware of it, but the source of your problems are that in the lyrics that you're singing, the language vowel is E, oo, or ishness. And that's what's choking you up. That's what's creating problems. And so back to John's question here, I'm talking about needing to open up or modify closed language vowels. For example, we don't always do this, but sometimes we want to modify E into A when we sing it. We may want to modify oo into or ishness when we're singing. Okay, we speak it ooh, we sing it we speak it e, we sing it a. Okay, so that's another example of understanding acoustics, vowel modification that we've talked about. John, I hope I have answered your question so far. John was wondering whether there's a difference between narrow, wide vowels versus open, closed vowels. Yes, there is, both in language and in singing. And back to kind of the point that I'm making for you in regards to your question, you have to clarify which set of phonetics. Which set of phonetics are we talking about? Are we talking about language phonetics, or are we talking about singing phonetics? Singing phonetics are generally more open. Even the narrowed singing vowels are more open than the language vowels. Are you disagreeing with the other coaches, or are you talking about two different things? I don't know what the other coaches are talking about. If other coaches are saying you need to modify or open up a language vowel, e, oo, ishness, okay, into a, or another variant in the singing phonetics, if that's what they're saying, and I know that's what they're talking about, because that's the kind of easy part of vowel modification. That's what they get, they understand, and I'm glad that they're teaching that. It's an important thing. Yes, I agree with them. Yes, yes. Not always, though. Not always. You don't always want to do that. Sometimes in singing, you want an E to sound like an E. Okay, it's more difficult to do that, but sometimes you do. But yes, John, generally speaking, if they're referring to modifying closed language vowels into open singing vowels, and most of the time, or we want to do that, yeah, I agree. It's a good idea. And we talk about that in the 4 pillars of singing. I demonstrated. It's all written out in scales and tables and everything else. All right. One more question. I'm a little confused about belting and covering. We talked about that, John. Thanks, Rob. That's Simon. Ha, ha, ha. Simon. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, Simon. Sorry. I'm moving fast, as you guys can see. John is right. Da, 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 da. Simon, one more. If the other coaches are saying you should always modify your vowel by making it narrower, are you agreeing, disagreeing by saying you should open a closed vowel? Again, you have to determine whether you're talking about language phonetics or singing phonetics. Singing phonetics, generally speaking, not all the time, but I think, generally speaking, and if you took lessons with me, I would be teaching you to do it. I would never let you not narrow the vowel when we're training or singing. Okay? So the higher you go through your passaggio into your head voice, the greater the necessity to narrow the vowel or narrow the acoustic energy in your singing. Okay? So you are agreeing, disagreeing by saying other coaches are saying you should always modify your vowel by narrowing. Yeah, to narrow is to modify. Narrowing is one way to modify. There's other kinds of modifying. Okay, narrowing is a form of modifying. And yeah. If these other coaches are saying, yeah, the higher we go in frequency, generally it's a good idea to narrow the vowel. Yeah, that's a general statement. That's a general rule. Yes. And that's my clarification. Cool. All right, and that's an hour.